Hello, this is our next video in our series of building your apparel decorating business. Today we're going to talk about software to set up online stores, your own website, company stores, etc. I think this was the one key piece that took our business from doing pretty well to just really going over the top. We were the first in our community to set up online stores for particular sports or clubs or whatever. The way we would do it oftentimes is the local baseball team of the high school. We would set up a spiritware store a couple of weeks before their practices would begin. When they had their annual or meetings with their parents or whatever, they would direct them to that store. They'd put it on their social media. We'd put it on our social media. And that store would be up for 2 or 3 weeks where parents, players, fans, etc. could purchase their local high school baseball team t-shirt, hoodie, dry fit shirt, etc. And then when the date of the store expired, we would take the store down. We would order the garments, print and prepare all the garments, sort them by order, package them, and then we'd deliver them to the school. We would charge, the school would know or the team would know what we're charging, and then they would decide how much they want to mark it up. So, for example, if we were charging $7 for a 2-color print t-shirt, the school might charge $12, so they're making $5 per shirt. So if we're charging them $16 or $17 for a basic hoodie with a 2-color print on the front, then they might charge $25. So most of the schools we work with on a little small fundraiser like that, they would make $400 to $600, and they really didn't have to do anything other than post the link on their social media. We did everything else. All the money went through the website. We packaged all the orders by order, packaged them in a nice clear bag that we bought from Uline. And all the school really had to do was, when we delivered all of them, they're all packaged, is just hand them out. And then they got a check, between $400 and $600 if they push their website at all. And that became so easy for many of the coaches to make that $400-$600 for their sport that we just got tons of business. Every fall, every spring, we had 15 to 30 of these websites up at any one time. And we just cornered the market in our community by using these web stores. We set up web stores for companies, local factories, had web stores up all the time. Now, usually these were, we had either embroidery or it was something we could do with a screen print transfer, because people are ordering these one at a time or one order at a time, and you don't want to be setting up your screen printing thing, for one shirt or 2 shirts. But embroidery, you can do onesies and twosies all day long and make good money off of them. And if we did put a print on there, we did something that we could do with a screen print transfer. So when somebody ordered one of those, we had purchased a couple of dozen or whatever we thought the sales were going to be on that site of that transfer, and then we could put it on the garment. But we had lots of company stores up where employees could purchase their garments through that company store. So this is a huge deal in my opinion, but you have to pay monthly fees to purchase this software. So you have to build your business up to a point where you think you can afford to pay for this service. I'm going to talk about the 2 services we used in our business. I found them both to be very, very good, and I think you can't go wrong with either one. But I'm going to tell you what the pros and cons of both of them are. There are other softwares and I'm going to mention their names. I'm not as familiar with them because we didn't use them. I did some research on one of them and didn't choose it. But again, you may research all these softwares, and maybe you will make a different choice. But I'm going to tell you the 2 that we use. We use Deco Network first, and Deco Network is a very robust platform. What our service was, now again, this is when we used it, as a new subscriber, there might be different prices, but I'm sure they'd still be in the same ballpark. What we purchased was $199 a month, and that gave us the ability to put up to 100 individual spirit stores. So that met our needs, and we did a lot of these because when you put up one and it's finished, you can take it down. So it's not 100 total forever, it's 100 up. So if I take one down, that doesn't count. So I think for most businesses, that platform or that package would be the one you would want. And what we did is we had Deco Network, and we originally used it to start our own website. And then we started using it to put up the spiritware stores, put it the store up for a couple of weeks, take it down when the sale ended. Deco Network is very robust, and it can be a little bit more difficult to learn than the second option I'm going to give you that we also used. If you've ever used the Wix and things like that, it's similar to that when you build your website. But what you can do, once you build a spiritware store template, you can copy it and you can use everything set up and just replace the heading and replace the color on it and things like that. So once you set up a template, you can reuse that template over and over and over and just replace some of the things, upload the products for this team's soccer as opposed to the last sale you did was a football sale. And so once you get a template set up, it's not as difficult. But if you run something really robust and really has all kinds of options, it is more complicated. But if you have experience in any kind of website work, I'd say Deco Network would probably be something you definitely want to look into. If you have no experience and do not, don't know anything about setting up websites, that was my situation. But I was able to learn and use Deco Network for the things I needed to use it for. So it is very doable. However, it is more difficult than the second option. So I'm going to give you the second option as well. Printavo was the other platform we used. We started with Deco, but my employees, or when they got a school that wanted to set up a website, I did all that because I had learned how to use Deco Network. But at some point, our business continued to grow that I needed some of my employees to be able to set up the website so that I didn't have to set up every single one of them because it was so many being set up that's all I was doing all day long. So we originally looked at Printavo as an organization software, and it's very good for that. Deco has something called Business Hub that is also an organizational software, but I found Printavo's organizational piece much easier to use, and I liked it much better as far as the organization part of it. And that's originally why we set up Printavo. Printavo has where you can set up a calendar and set up statuses in all your jobs. For example, I get an order in, I put it in Printavo, I can mark a status that this order has been placed. And then once I order the goods, I can change the status to the goods are ordered. So everybody in our store can look at this and know that these goods for this particular order has been ordered. Once the goods come in, we count them in, and then we can change the status that these goods are all here and ready to be printed or embroidered or whatever the process is. You can have a different color for every process in your store, a color for awards, a color for embroidery, a color for screen printing, a color for vinyl cutting, etc. So it's very, very well. Once your business gets to a point where you're having difficulty keeping up with everything, I would suggest that you definitely look at Printavo. Now, we were using QuickBooks, and we just converted everything over to Printavo. We use Printavo as our invoices, and Printavo has a very advantageous system where you can, when an order is complete, you can set a status where it will email and text the customer that the order is ready for pickup. If, for example, if it's a school or something and they're using a PO, they pick the order up and hasn't been paid for, you can send a message to the person that this hasn't been paid, and that type thing. So it saves a lot of time. Like I said, we replaced QuickBooks with the Printavo for invoicing because of that situation where it would email or text the customer that the order's ready. It would text them it's time to pay. It would provide them a link where they could just pay online if it was a business, so they could use their credit card. So it has a lot of things like that. But Printavo also has online store options that are easier to set up. Now, Printavo's online store options are not as robust. You can't make them look quite as fancy and look as, bells and whistles and look as attractive maybe as you can on the Deco Network side, but it's much easier to learn. So at the point where I needed some of my employees to be able to set up stores themselves, Printavo was much easier for them to learn, and I'd say you could watch their videos in a couple hours. You can set up a store. Where Deco is more involved, and it's going to take more education to get your employees up to speed. So if I'm starting out and I know nothing about setting up websites, to me, Printavo is your go-to. Now, Printavo is going to run you about a couple $100 a month for the organizational part, which once your business gets to a certain point is well worth it. Then you're going to have another $100 to do the online store. So you're looking at about $300 a month for all of things Printavo can offer. Now, our business was to a point where we kept both of them. We used Deco Network for our own personal store website, and we used it for the company's websites that would stay up all the time because we could do much more with them and make them look a lot fancier and attractive. For the sites that we were putting up that were going to be up 2 weeks to 3 weeks, we just used Printavo for all those because you could pop those up quicker. It's not a whole lot quicker once you know Deco. It is a little quicker, but it's much easier to learn. So you can have an employee or yourself, if you don't know anything about it, learn how to do it in just a couple of hours of watching their videos. So I highly recommend both these platforms. The two other ones that are big in this industry is Inksoft and Order My Gear. I am not as familiar with those two. I did research Inksoft in the beginning and decided to go with Deco Network, but that may just be a personal preference. I don't know. Those of you that might use either Inksoft or Order My Gear, you might put below your experience with them, whether you like them or not, and pros and cons, things like that. But in our business, both Deco Network and Printavo are very, very useful, and I would recommend both of them highly. It comes down to, do you want a robust platform that you can do lots of fancy things and make it look really, really attractive? If that's the case, and you have a little experience, or you're willing to learn, take a little bit more time learning all the ins and outs, Deco is probably your answer. If you need organizational software, definitely Printavo. And if you need something simple to get those websites up quickly, and you don't need the robust, really super fancy looking websites, Printavo is probably your answer. Hope this helps somebody. Once your business gets to a certain point, I definitely recommend that you go this way. It'll give you a huge advantage over your competitors. Thanks.